That show ain't right, everybody. It's Deep Dive Zone, a Sonic review series for fans of all shapes and sizes. I'm your host, Evan, joined, as always, by Lauren and Bruce, and, well, today, we're not looking at Sonic. We're doing another Ken Penders bonus episode, because after Ken Penders left the Sonic series in 2006, I think, over creative differences, he did a myriad of odd jobs for other creative projects, including, as you can see by the thumbnail and the name of this episode, storyboard work for 2 episodes in Season 11 of adult animated sitcom King of the Hill.
You know, I watched these episodes, and then I was like, so what was Ken's inclusion? Storyboards. Really?
Right.
This is so tangentially related.
This is ridiculously tangentially related. This is a weird thing for us to cover.
Well, so,
It really is.
the joke here is that with a modern cartoon, if you watch, like, Steven Universe or Adventure Time or something, the borders also get to do bits of the dialogue and how that plays out. That's not the case here. Literally all that Ken did was frame scenes according to the script. So this is super, super unrelated to anything. But I thought it would be funny to just review episodes of King of the Hill like it was our normal show.
I mean, yeah, we've done similar things before, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I thought would be funny is me and Bruce are both fans of King of the Hill. Lauren is not familiar with this in the slightest.
I am now.
Yeah, you are now.
But I wasn't before.
You're slightly more familiar with the series as of now. How do you feel?
You want thoughts right out the bat? This is not my kind of show at all.
That's fair enough.
I was honestly wondering, because King of the Hill, it has a sort of golden age of a few seasons, just like The Simpsons.
Right.
It differs from The Simpsons because I think that it ended before it got as bad as The Simpsons eventually got.
Right.
But having watched these in season 11, it's like, yeah, this is definitely after the peak of the show.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed these episodes, but they aren't as, actively funny.
Well, they just don't feel
Compared
quite as
to-
in line with the joke of King of the Hill, which is that it tends to be very downplayed deadpan humor.
Right.
Either that, or it's, Hank Hill is very uptight about things. And also
Right.
Texas. Let's jump into the first one here, which is season 11, episode 2. It's SerPUNT with pun capitalized. I'm not really sure what the deal with that is. The hills create a snake scare when a large python is released into the sewer system, and a couple of greedy city contractors try to take advantage of the situation. So already it's like, man, Lauren's gonna have no fucking idea what's going on. Because it's like, this episode is already way, way into the show after Hank, Peggy, and Bobby's personalities have all developed quite a bit. But also, like he's not gonna know who Lucky is or how Luann is related to them.
To be fair, also, this is beyond the point where I've watched any of the show, so I was also kind of confused.
And it's also because, Tom Petty and Brittany Murphy are both passed away now. So it's like, seeing these characters is like, oh, that just makes me sad now. But this episode starts with Hank holding a surprise birthday party for his very old dog.
I really thought this was a birthday party for Peggy. I'm gonna be honest.
No, Hank would never get that passionate about it.
Jesus Christ.
I am surprised that supposedly these are developed characters. I watched this episode, and I just thought it was one of those shows where nothing really changes between any of the episodes, and these are just all a bunch of stupid characters in this wacky town, and there was nothing to miss because nothing had happened. I just thought, oh, it's just like episode 1. Like, it didn't feel weird.
I mean, a little bit.
So it came off to me anyway.
I do like that we're doing all this, and Bill is just here in the background. Like, none of Hank's other friends would care, but Bill is too lonely to pass an opportunity like this up. But yeah, so the thing with this is that Lucky, who is this, he's sort of like this, hillbilly-ish character who becomes Luann's boyfriend late in the series. He's in, season 10 or something. He is a late arrival to the cast.
Right, yeah, I think that's beyond where I had seen any of the series, so I had no idea who this man was.
I don't know where the hell he got a Burmese python.
He's a hillbilly. They have their ways.
I don't know. That seems like a hard thing to get. And the thing that fucks me up about this episode is that why the hell are they so scared of it? They let
it's huge.
They let Bobby hold it at first. and it's like, then it's just like, oh, now suddenly everyone's too scared to touch it. But it's like it opens its mouth at one point. I don't even see it. I don't even see teeth.
So they're not venomous, but what they are is extremely strong.
Okay.
So, and they can swallow large animals, and they can like crush your like arm.
Yeah.
I had a read on this show, but the way you particularly, Devin, are talking about it is confusing me. You're questioning the logic of the situation. Why do you
Right.
need to question the logic of the situation? It's shenanigans. Like, there is no logic to it. The characters literally just stand and watch the snake slither away. They do nothing to try and stop it.
Yeah, I
Well,
don't get that.
They do call Dale, who's a professional exterminator, and then he doesn't do
After
anything
it
either.
gets away.
And Dale proceeds to do
That's in
Well,
character for
that
him, though.
seems,
That
yeah,
is in
from what I
character
could
for
read
Dale,
of them,
but-
that seems in character.
Yeah, so the snake goes down the toilet, and they're just they do that, and then it's like, all right, well, now we've got a different problem to deal with. So they go to animal control, and the animal control guy is voiced by John Goodman, which I didn't expect.
I was surprised by that.
I didn't realize that, and I was trying to figure out why I recognized his voice.
Yeah, that's why. And he's like, "Oh, this gives me an idea for a wacky scheme to bleed the local government of money."
Yeah.
I do like the news broadcast where they paint Hank as A, the owner of the snake, and B, extremely irresponsible.
Yeah, maybe the news should do some more research and like go talk to Hank or something.
Well, it's hilarious because Hank says, "I don't believe this. They're lying on the news." Nancy, I might add, totally complicit in all this. She's Dale's wife. She knows that Hank wouldn't do this.
Yeah. Oh shit, she's getting paid. If you were getting paid, wouldn't you say something shitty about one of your friends or one of your friends' partners?
Yeah, well, she has a whole ass arc to get the news anchor job from just being the weather lady before, so she has to hang on to that tight. So
Right.
What? Seriously?
Yes!
This is all stuff. I looked at this and I'm like, oh, simple. This is just the plot where everyone in the town is an idiot except the main character because he's a straight man, and it's all just everyone's bent towards the way the plot has to go because it spirals more and more out into ridiculousness as they end up just completely shunning Hank, and I'm just like, no, this is everyone is stupid except the main guy. He's the only intelligent character, but only to make contrast.
yeah, it's like the people of Arlen, Texas, normally in this show are not whipped up into an angry mob as easily as the people of Springfield or something. But this episode is definitely... Actually, this episode and the next episode are both, like, Hank torture episodes.
They are, and I don't.
You mean
like
to tell me that isn't, like, the formula for the show?
I
Not
wouldn't say so.
generally.
I mean, almost any episode that focuses on Hank is about him being made uncomfortable by something, but that's usually because it's something that goes against his core values.
Right. It's not because the show writers are trying to torture the poor man.
Yeah, but yes, this is why I'm saying that this doesn't generate the best impression of the show.
It really doesn't.
I do like the city council meeting because it is a very good caricature of how local politics tend to go.
Oh yeah, that was funny because I've seen some great clips on like YouTube and on Reddit of local city council meetings that just go completely off the rails.
Makes me want to rewatch Parks and Recreation again, but
I should watch that show. I never watched very much of it.
yeah, but everybody is hostile towards Hank here. His boss,
Right.
Mr. Strickland, blames him for not being able to commit financial crimes in the bathroom anymore. Yeah, it's mostly just jokes about, extremely malicious public servants, jokes about the media, jokes about
Also-
a transgender banker, which hasn't aged well at all.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that
Yeah,
up.
yeah, that hasn't aged well. Also, jokes
There are
about
a number of things
snake
that
coming up out of your
have-
toilet.
there are a number of parts here that feel dated, honestly.
I mean,
It's really
this is-
weird because this has two other episodes. It has an episode where it turns out that Dale's dad is gay, and it also has an episode that's all about drag culture, and both of them treat things much more maturely. So it's like,
just down to the writers.
yeah, I suppose it depends on who's writing, which I didn't check. This is all off the
Well,
cuff.
yeah, well, yeah.
It's still not as bad as that one Futurama episode. Anyway, Hank and Dale discover that the animal control guys, they're just using the snake situation, which is not even really a situation, but
No,
they're
it's
using
not.
it to bleed money from the government, and so they have to go on a sewer adventure to find the snake themselves.
Every time I see sewers in a cartoon, my first thought is always, I don't think that's what sewers look like.
They always have to be very, very spacious.
Yeah.
I do like the reveal that it turns out the sewers were already full of snakes and rats.
That is probably not uncommon.
It's truer to life than most of
Yeah.
the things positive about, the snake's coming out the toilet.
I do love the ad for the superstore that says snake-free bathroom since 1988.
That's good, yeah.
That was funny. That was real funny.
That's the cereal box that says, this one is asbestos-free. But the climax of this episode is perhaps the most surreal. I did not remember it going this way, even though I remember this episode, where the animal control guys show up and they're like, wow, look at all this. And they get into an argument with Hank and Dale, and it basically culminates with Hank just saying, can't you just do your jobs? And they're like, oh.
Oh, yeah.
They're genuinely caught off guard by that.
Yeah, and then they go and beat a snake to death.
Yeah, this is absurd. They just take an uncomfortable amount of joy in murdering small animals.
Yeah.
Which is
this is not commonplace in this show.
Well,
I'm having trouble believing this.
So, there's a joke earlier on where, Dale passes by a squirrel and he's like, kill you later. And it's they would do that tenor of joke where they would have Dale talk about killing small animals. They would not just have a scene where they just beat them with sticks.
Not just beat them, gleefully beat them.
Yeah, it's again, I don't know why I'm bringing up The Simpsons so much. I guess just because adult animated family sitcom.
There's an episode came to my mind.
I mean,
there's an episode of
bringing up a worse show like Family Guy.
Family. I would never do Family Guy even if Ken Penders made an entire season and wrote for it. Actually, I might do that.
Don't say such things.
I might do that now that I'm saying it. But
you're going to manifest that, Devin. Stop
it. There's an episode of The Simpsons called Whacking Day, where they have a city holiday dedicated to needlessly murdering snakes with sticks. But the point of that episode is that it's about Lisa trying to get them to stop doing Whacking Day. Right. Because it being, it's a commentary on American traditions when they're not always good. This is just haha, they kill the snake.
Comedy.
And we end with Bobby's like, hey, you guys found the snake, right? And Hank's like, yep, it's on a farm. And that's the end.
Yep. And what more could you ask for?
You know what? I can say this. Good job, Ken. The storyboards were fine.
We didn't even see the fucking storyboards.
No, but we saw how the layouts were interpreted.
Well, he's not even the only storyboarder, so
I should have been paying attention to the credits because I see if I could even.
Listen. As long as the visuals were readable, which I think they were fine, you did a good job.
Fucking job.
I was scrolling the wiki for screenshots of this episode to use in the video, and I found this comment by Lego City Dude 2 saying that this is one of his least favorite episodes, and I would find it absolutely hilarious to consider the fictional scenario in which this is actually Lauren, who has secretly been following the show for years and just didn't tell us. Is this a Ruby character? Is he a fan of that? I don't even know. This is the folly of doing an episode idea as stupid as this.
This is pure, unadulterated hubris.
This is just us fucking around, which is also coincidentally true of the other episode that Ken worked on, which is Season 11, Episode 5, Hank Gets Dusted, wherein Hank's cousin, ZZ Top's Dusty Hill, comes to Arlen and makes Hank the butt of all his jokes for his new reality TV program.
So since when is Hank related to Dusty Hill?
Since this episode, and I guess they didn't contradict it previously.
That is one hell of a cousin to have, because...
and that is the joke that I like in this episode, is that Hank is, super ashamed of it, not just because Dusty is a jerk to him, but also just because he doesn't respect ZZ Top.
Which is a shame, because I love ZZ Top.
Well, then you don't have to be on Hank's side. You don't have to be on Hank's side in most episodes. He's often in the wrong.
Well, I don't feel bad about being partially on Hank's side for this episode, because this is just emotional abuse, mostly.
Yes. This is simultaneously the needless guest star episode, which there's several of
Yeah.
those. I like when shows invent new characters for guest stars to be instead of just having a celebrity playing themselves.
Well, I mean, we kind of also got that in this episode with Will Arnett.
Yeah, but I mean like in the Pimp episode where they have Snoop Dogg play a white guy who is the most comically weak person in the universe.
Oh my god, I didn't even.
But yeah, so the plot of this episode is it starts off with, well, for one thing, I love Bobby's enthusiasm about them getting a phone message. He's so happy.
You know what? I remember being that excited about small things. I wish I was back at that.
Bobby is the best character of the show. We should have reviewed a Bobby episode. Those are good. But
yeah, but Penders didn't work on any of them.
I know. Anyway, so they get a message from Hank's dad, and I immediately thought, oh god, Hank's dad is in this episode. Because
Yeah.
Cotton Hill is the biggest asshole on the planet.
Yes, I was not excited for Cotton.
I'm surprised that he was still alive at this point. He dies in season 12. But, he's like, oh, yeah, I'm giving away my car. And it's like, oh, I want to buy the car. No, I'm not selling it. I'm giving it to your cousin, who is a famous rock star who already has dozens of cars. But he still expects Hank to wash the car, because, of course. So Cotton is giving away his Cadillac to Dusty of ZZ Top, and Hank's like, all right, Bobby, I have to explain something to you. I'm related to this rock star.
Yeah.
Thank God, by the way, for Calvin and Hobbes, because if not for one Calvin and Hobbes comic, I would have no idea who ZZ Top were.
Damn. That's cringe.
But yeah, so we learn that Dusty, Hank's cousin, has been terrible to him for pretty much their entire life, and they show up, and Hank just barely manages to catch the "what's a butt for" joke, because I guess he's genre savvy. But the actual gimmick of this episode is that the Hills' family life gets turned into a reality show directed by Will Arnett, who is a dickhead.
And also, none of I don't think they can legally record him without consent from all of the Hills, and Hank very much did not give his consent.
I didn't even think of that. You're right.
Yeah.
That's the case for a lot of reality TV episodes of shows.
Yeah.
But yes, like we said, this is a Hank torture episode. He just gets increasingly mad as they keep messing with him throughout the entire show.
Yeah, and I cannot blame him at all.
See, this is where I was like, I read this show like a book. This is the formula. Everyone is unrealistically, I guess in this case, mean rather than stupid to the main character. And it's absolutely ludicrous. It's like, am I back in Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog? There's no logic here at all. I must say, when the reality show director, there's this one scene where they're looking at everyone standing in front of the fence, and he's like, this is not interesting at all. And I'm like, you said it, my friend.
Well, that's the joke, is that, the original, I say the original intent is that, they have these scenes where it's just Hank and his friends standing in the alleyway drinking beer, and nothing at all happens. And, the joke is that it is boring, which is not necessarily a good joke. Again, everybody has tastes. But this is, I think the show has become Flanderized, to, use that turn of phrase. But it does contain some good legacy humor, because John Redcorn, at one point, everybody's trying to get the camera on them, so John Redcorn, the Native American guy, is like, I slept with his best friend's wife for 13 years, which is a true thing that takes place throughout the first, 9 seasons of this show. And when you see Dale's son, Joseph, you can see that John Redcorn is his actual dad. But then Dale's like, we all know Bill's wife was a tramp.
God.
And, there the joke is that everybody except Dale knows that, and then that's actually in character because Dale is oblivious. The part that stuck out to me was when, Dusty offers a sincere apology to Hank, and then it turns out that even that was a lie for the camera.
Well, so if we can, I don't know if there's anything more to say, but at the very end of the episode, Dusty gets mad at the film crew and shoos them away. But I was, till the very end, I was like, it's a trick. It's a trick. They're all in on it. And when there was no trick, I was like, what? No, that's not how you do this. You got it wrong.
Sincerity.
Try again.
It's like, if they had made this episode of, the title first, they should have had... I guess the problem is that the Hill's last name only has one syllable, so they can't do a Truman Show joke. But, Cause there are episodes like that where it feels like they came up with the title first. Cause they do an episode where Hank gets addicted to a GTA ripoff, but they call the episode Grand Theft Arlen, which is the greatest name for an episode of the show.
Oh my god.
But anyway, so the ultimate thing that they do to piss Hank off is, the Cadillac that he grew up riding in with Cotton and all that. They're like, we're gonna drive it in a demolition derby. And I'm gonna be honest, I know Hank and I are very different people. I would not give this much of a shit about any of the cars I've grown up with. My family keeps cars for decades. I don't care.
Well, so also at the end of the day, Hank doesn't even end up showing that much concern about the car.
Well, I mean, you want to save somebody's life first, yeah.
Right.
He should not be a sociopath who lets his cousin die.
But I mean, I don't know. I think it's just it's because Hank associates the car with all these fun trips and like
not fun trips.
stuff.
Remember, he grew up with Cotton as his dad.
True. Cotton. All of these trips that he experienced.
No, it's memories.
So normally I would say you're looking into this too deep, but I think Hank is the only actual character you can do that with in this show, or at least in this episode and the other one. But I don't think it's about the car, because it's about the fact of the matter. I mean, he's betrayed by his father at first. He's not shown any. Clearly, there's a history between these two, and you've confirmed as much. They don't get along at all, and so this was like the first time, finally, his dad did something nice for him. And then when it's not even that, then it's become symbolic more than anything.
Yeah, it's a psychological thing.
Right. Yeah, it's a psychological thing. And so at the end, like you said, they're focused on saving Dusty, which, I mean, obviously that's the common sense thing, but I think it's more than that. He would rather be on good terms with his family, and if he can't have his dad, at least he'll have his cousin.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and I was about to say, this is spoiling a bit. You're not watching any more fucking episodes of the show. They swipe you with it at every opportunity with Cotton in every episode that he's in. I can remember maybe a couple times that Cotton does anything nice, and the only thing that he does nice things for is his grandson.
Yeah.
And I actually love the episode where Cotton dies, because they spend the whole episode having Hank try to talk to him genuinely and say if you're dying, I love you, Dad. And he's like, what the hell are you talking about? Get out of here, boy. And Cotton literally fakes dying twice in that episode so that Hank will leave him alone. And then they have him die while Peggy tells him how horrible a person it is and that it's good that he's dying. So it makes sense that they would have to have an episode where Hank has to give up caring about anything related to his dad. And that's the thesis of the episode, is that reality TV sucks, and so does Hank's dad.
Yeah, a more noble message than the first one, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the first one is just, public servants being malicious, which is I have a lot of respect for sanitation workers and animal control and stuff.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about it that way, that's true.
But I do not have that much respect for celebrities, or especially reality television.
Yeah.
I'll say this, sometimes I come downstairs and my mom and my sister are watching episodes of the Great British Bake Off, and it's like, that looks stupid. Why are you baking food like that?
Sometimes I join a podcast and then I get to talk about a show that my friends have talked about, and I'm like, wow, this is a stupid show. Why do you guys like this?
Well, these aren't the best examples, but also different tastes for different pasty-faced white people. I don't know.
Okay.
The only line that really kind of laughed for me in this episode is, "Your beard's a girl?" Right at the end.
The beard also grew back very fast.
Yeah, I maybe he got beard extenders. Those probably exist.
Yeah, it's called a hair extension.
Maybe they fished his beard out of the seatbelt when it got caught in.
I mean, I was thinking more the beard isn't real in the first place.
Oh my gosh, that would be a friggin'
against ZZ Top though.
That would be an amazing reveal. Is that it was all fake?
That's slander against ZZ Top though, and I won't stand for that.
That is the other thing though, is that if you're doing a celebrity episode and you can't make the celebrity, you have to make them play themselves. You can at least make them play themselves in a really inaccurate way, like Adam West would always do.
Oh yeah.
So whatever the fuck this was, the video's over. Good job.
Yay!
Thank you all for watching. Good job, Ken Penders. Again, the storyboards were fine.
This is probably the strangest episode we've done so far.
You know,
I agree.
I was prepared to say like, "Oh, this is the best thing that Penders has ever worked on," because I like King of the Hill. These episodes aren't very good.
No, they're not.
And his inclusion barely made any difference.
Well, that was why I was gonna say it is because of that. But it's like, no, it's just not that
Also,
good.
I mean,
The
also,
curse of Penders.
oof.
Oh, Penders made the episodes not good.
So here's the thing. Also, I feel like these episodes would have been basically the same no matter who was doing the storyboarding.
Well,
Yeah.
yes.
So I don't think Penders was all that important. I'm gonna
I said
be
as much.
honest.
Yeah, no, 100%.
In any case, that is going to be it for this very bizarre bonus episode that I don't know why we did, other than because it was a very dumb idea and dumb
Because
things
we
are fun.
can.
If you like this episode, feel free to share, comments, like, and subscribe. And if you want to see more episodes like this, we can't do anything for you because we're not going to watch more King of the Hill episodes to review. But if you want to see more parts of the rest of our show, you can find us at any of the places shown on screen. And with all that said, we'll see you on Sunday for another episode of wherever the hell I'm putting this bonus episode out during. We hope you have a great night, and take care.